So, should Saquon Barkley be in the topic of discussion for MVP? Where does Daniel Jones go now? And was last week a bad game or a bad sign for Justin Jefferson? We'll see if we can answer those questions and many more as we get you ready for what, in my opinion, is my favorite time of the year, Thanksgiving weekend in the NFL, fantasy playoffs right around the corners. We got you covered from head to toe, from top to bottom, and every point in between, right here on Fantasy Football Fever, which starts right about now. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is Tuesday night, November 26, 2024, just 2 days away from Thanksgiving. And as I said, it's my favorite time of the year, my favorite time for the NFL. All these great games, getting together with family, eating a lot of food, having a lot of fun. That's what it's all about for this weekend. However, whenever and wherever you're watching, thanks for making us part of your special Thanksgiving week. My name, of course, is Tim McClelland. This man over here is the host of the Hooked on Sports podcast, which is John Flynn.
Hello, guys. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, and may I be the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, sir?
Yes, I may I do the same with you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, our good buddy, our league commissioner, Mr. John Natale, will not be joining us tonight, but we definitely send our regards and our Thanksgiving wishes to him and his family, as well as to you and yours from us and ours. So, so before we get into the big Thanksgiving weekend, we got to talk about, wow, last week in the NFL, especially the 1 o'clock games. Oh my goodness, especially over in our nation's capital, where more action happened in the last 9 or so minutes of that game than the whole game itself. But don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We are just going to go right down the line, starting in Cleveland, where the Cleveland Browns ended up defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers by a score of 24-19. The leaders in that one was Russell Wilson with 270 passing yards. Nick Chubb had 59 rushing yards for the Browns, and Jerry Jeudy had 85 receiving yards there.
Yeah, I mean, this was actually an interesting game because there are people so that are dubbing this the snow globe game because the game started with no snow on the ground, but then once then the snow got heavier and and then they had to play in the snow. It was an iconic bad weather game, but how about what Jameis Winston was able to do, I also want to pull up some of the best performers in PPR formatting from last week in this game. So I think you're looking at Jalen Warren. He led all the Steelers players with 15.4 fantasy points. Of course, he had a rushing touchdown in this game. Calvin Austin III also had a touchdown in this game as well. Only 1.3% of the leagues have him rostered. So that was quite interesting. But But I think the big star for the big fantasy star in this game was Nick Chubb for Cleveland. I mean the way he's running with power and precision, it was very much a welcome sight. So he wound up scoring 19 fantasy points. He had 59 rushing yards, a couple of touchdowns. His best performance of the season so far. His and probably the best he's looked since that ACL tear last season.
Wow. Yeah, very good job for him. So Pittsburgh still in the running to maybe take that top spot in the AFC North. We'll see what happens here on out. Meanwhile, the Sunday matchups, Minnesota had to have an overtime period to defeat the Chicago Bears 27-30. The top guys there. Jared Goff with 269 passing yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's always dangerous. He got 90 yards with at least one touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. And Michael Pittman Jr. with 96 receiving yards in that one. That was a pretty good matchup there with those two NFC North rivals.
I think you just rattled off the stats for Lions Colts, but we'll actually start there instead because there was a 24-6 victory for the Lions and the for the Lions and the Colts. I think it was that David Montgomery scored a couple of touchdowns in that game, but it was all about the Lions running game and what they were capable of doing. Now Jared Goff did not what wasn't really needed. The volume for there was just not there. But it was all about what the Lions' offensive line can do and great performances by them. Not so much so for the Indianapolis Colts, who got stymied again, who got stopped again by a powerful Lions defense.
Oh yeah, the final score of that one was Detroit 24, Indianapolis 6. Can't believe I just did that right there. So anyway, going back to the Chicago Minnesota game, 30-27, Minnesota over Chicago in overtime. Caleb Williams, 340 passing yards. Aaron Jones with a buck 6 on the ground. And Jordan Addison had a real good day with receiving yards, 162. And as we said, a little bit of concern for Justin Jefferson.
I think what the Bears the game plan.
Oh, I think it frozen up.
Defensively was that they wanted to take Justin. Was he demonstrated why he was the first round pick in the first place? Going back to his days in USC, being paired up with Caleb Williams, who he happened to face off against for the first time. But it was really Jordan Addison's being special. That he had 8 catches, 100.
Uh-oh.
You also had big games from as well because he had an excellent day on the ground as well. So it was a really fun game all the way around for that.
Yeah, that was a good one. So hats off to Minnesota in that game. Meanwhile, over in South Beach, Miami, it was the Dolphins who had a big day over the New England Patriots by a score of 34-15. Tua Tagovailoa started to look pretty good again with 317 passing yards. Devon Achane with only 32 rushing yards. Jalen Waddle, 140 for 144 receiving yards for Jalen Waddle. I got to hear this. And Flynn, he definitely got in there all right.
He definitely did. But I think other notes in this game, Jonnu Smith had another fantastic day among at the tight end spot, with um with 9 catches for 87 yards and a touchdown. But Devon Achane, in addition to 32 rushing yards, he had 3 catches for 24 yards and two passing scoring touchdowns in the win.
Yeah, all right. So Miami trying to keep
Yeah,
pace.
meanwhile on the Patriots side,
Mhm.
Austin Hooper, a good day, had the best performance of any Patriot. 4 catches for 59 yards and a touchdown.
So Miami's keeping pace over there in that crazy AFC Eastern Division. Meanwhile, uh,
And also, by the way, the Patriots, I think they returned a fumble for a touchdown in that game, so that helped a little bit in terms of fantasy, but other than that, not so much on that front.
yeah, not so much there. Meanwhile, with Daniel Jones now gone, Tommy DeVito stepped in for the Giants, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were just a little too much. 30-7 was the score, with Tampa Bay getting the win. Baker Mayfield, what a huge day. 294 passing yards. Bucky Irving with 87 rushing yards. And Mike Evans, coming back from his injury, he did okay with a respectable 68 receiving yards.
Yeah, I mean the game was pretty much over at halftime. I mean, not much to say. I'll put it nicely that the effort from the Giants was kind of lacking. You felt that the locker room was fractured, after everything that transpired with Daniel Jones and the eventual release, and really divided the group there. But some notes in this game: Malik Neighbors did not have a single target until in the first half, and then he wound up with 9 in the second half. I think he finished with like 3 receptions and 42 yards. So it wasn't. So, and not exactly roses right now if you are if you're the Giants, but credit Tampa for winning.
What the hell is up with not using one of your best young players, not getting Malik Neighbors any targets? Uh, I just boggles my mind.
So I think a couple of things here. So I think number one, the Giants only had 18 plays in the first half, but I think that they really wanted to try to get some pressure, take the pressure off Tommy DeVito and not him make any throws. But as the Giants kept scoring, allowing points to score, so they had no choice but to throw it, and you had a lot of a lot of bad plays.
Yeah, so another long year for the Giants right there.
Yep.
Next game, about halfway through the fourth quarter in this game, the Cowboys were ahead of the Commanders by a score of 10-9. When this game ended, final score Cowboys 34, Commanders 26. What a wild finish. One of the craziest finishes of any Cowboys game that I've ever seen. Jaden Daniels did so well. He passed for 275 yards. Rico Dowdle for the Cowboys got 86 yards on the ground, and Terry McLaurin with 102 receiving yards, including that long pass for that touchdown that kind of got the Cowboys defense off guard.
Yeah, what exactly was the coverage that Mike Zimmer was down was thinking there? So that they played way too soft, and as a result, that they couldn't make all that they wanted to focus on the zone here, but it is very much like a WTF there, but on the flip side, but that 86-yard touchdown pass from Terry McLaurin saved everybody's asses. Whoever started him in fantasy, over who started him in fantasy, like you figured that Terry McLaurin was a definite must start in fantasy after what transpired against Philly the week before, and Terry McLaurin wound up scoring 19.2 fantasy points and a lot there on their own. So props to him, but also props to the Cowboys and really it was really the defense slash special teams for Dallas that won in this game. Um, when it comes to that, and they wound up scoring a total of 25 points in fantasy last week on Sunday, because you had the two kickoff return touchdowns, you had 2 interceptions, you had 4 sacks. So when you have all of them dialed up, you that's what you're going to get.
And of course, in my opinion, the play of the game, that 95-yard kickoff return by Cavante Turpin. I mean, when he muffed that ball, I thought it was disaster, but he quickly picked it up and then pulled a spin move and then just went straight for the house.
Yeah, and then at the end, so after McLaurin scores that touchdown, Washington still had to kick the extra point, and Austin Seibert shanked it, missed, so they had to kick an onside kick to stay in the game, a Dallas guy recovers like 7 yards away, and then he just splits through 2 Washington defenders and scores an insurance touchdown to seal the victory. I mean, what a wild game! But look, Washington. I think Washington's in trouble. They have issues on defense. They have issues on the offensive line, and Jamie Daniels, even though he did play have that big touchdown, he didn't play great. It was just that the Cowboys were better at protecting the football than Washington, and I think that's what it came down to at the end.
Well, I guess all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Definitely about that. And how about the defending champions, the Kansas City Chiefs? They took care of the Carolina Panthers by a score of 30-27. Patrick Mahomes, another great day, 269 passing yards. Kareem Hunt, 68 yards on the ground. David Moore with 81 yards receiving. But my question is, looking at that score, the KC defense allowed 27 points to one of the worst teams in the league. Is the defense getting flawed?
I say, and look, I think the strength of Carolina's offense at the start of the season, and it was always going to be their strength. What was their offensive line, and I thought Carolina did a great job in pass protection. I thought they did some things in the ground game when they were able to do that. And it was just that they were able to keep up. They held Kansas City to field goals early in the first half. It could have gotten away from them pretty easily, but they should have been up by like 14, 20 points. Instead, they were only up 11 at the half, which gave Carolina a chance. But but the way Patrick Mahomes became the best QB1, the best overall quarterback in fantasy, it's him having to pad the stat sheets, and he didn't really have to do that. for the last year and a half because of how well the defense has been playing. But this was a game where they needed Madden numbers from Mahomes, and that's what he brought: 269 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 60 yards on the ground too, including a 33-yard run at the end to set up the winning field goal by Spencer Schrader, who made all 6 of his kicks, including 3 field goals.
Yeah, so KC is now 10-1. And KC now has 10 straight seasons of 10 victories at least. Man, that is
Amazing.
definitely that is amazing right there. The Tennessee Titans upended the Houston Texans by a score of 32-27. Will Levis with a 278 passing yards, Tony Pollard with 119 on the ground, and Calvin Ridley with 93 receiving yards. Who saw that coming?
I mean, if you were to tell me if you were to tell me based on how Will Levis started the season and that he would come to be playing like this to maybe to upset the team that's in first place in their division, I thought you would have been crazy. But if you looked at some of the tape if you looked at the things he showed in his rookie season, particularly that game against Miami. And then you also look at his body of work at Kentucky, that saying that you're starting you're seeing what Will Levis is capable of. He played great. I thought he made he made all but one of his throws. That the one interception was a bad one, but he didn't let that catch up to him by any means. So great job by him. Tony Pollard, 119 yards rushing and a touchdown. He was able to take care of all of that. So he was excellent. As for Houston, Nico Collins, 5 catches, 92 yards and a touchdown. And Joe Mixon, after having after a 3 touchdown performance last week, was held to just 22 yards rushing on 14 carries this week and 45 all-purpose yards in total. So that was a great job by Tennessee. And look, Tennessee is going to be a problem for opposing running backs the rest of the season because they have some of the best run stuffers in the league, and I think you have to give them credit for that.
Remaining defenses, watch out because Tennessee's going to be pretty tough there. Speaking of tough, Denver Broncos takes a 29-19 victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. Bo Nix, that awesome rookie, 273 passing yards. Jaleel McLaughlin, 44 rushing yards. And Jacoby Myers with 121 receiving yards. Bo Nix is definitely another front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I mean, these races for Offensive Rookie of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year are going to be off the charts. And Courtland Sutton had a great day. 97 yards of receiving, 8 catches, 2 touchdowns. And how about Will Lutz? Yeah, he made all 5 of his field goals, including 2 from 50 plus. And he wound up with his best performance of the season, 22 points. So that was great for Denver. But meanwhile, for the Raiders, their best performer, as you mentioned, was Jacoby Myers, and he had 121 yards receiving on 10 catches. But elsewhere wasn't really much roses anywhere else. Brock Bowers was held to just 7.8 points, just 4 catches and 38 yards. So that was really where it stood on that one.
Oh yeah,
And also Gardner Minshew, he is out for the season because he suffered a season-ending injury on Sunday in the loss.
Oh man, what a bummer! Our buddy Alex is not going to like that.
No, not at all.
Because he loves that Minshew mania. So
Yes.
So we now go to Green Bay. San Francisco kind of stumbled into this one. They were without their quarterback, Brock Purdy, and as a result, Green Bay just tore up on the 49ers by a score of 38-10. Brandon Allen in replacement got 199 passing yards. Josh Jacobs got 106 rushing yards.
Mhm.
George Kittle with 82 receiving yards in that one. So it seems like San Francisco's still a little bit banged up.
Yeah, I mean they didn't have Trent Williams, they didn't have Nick Bosa, they didn't have Telo Hufanga, and they didn't have Brock Purdy. So it was really a clunker uh, for uh, uh, for the 49ers. And now they have to go play Buffalo, coming off their a team coming off its bye week next Sunday night in Buffalo, with the weather being a huge factor. Sheesh, that's going to be a problem.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be a problem there. Seattle took care of Arizona by a score of 16-6. A very low scoring game there. Kyler Murray had 285 passing yards. Kenneth Walker third, only with 41 rushing yards. Trey McBride from the air, he got 133 receiving yards on that one. Low scoring game this season of the week.
Yeah, it definitely was. I was floored the Cardinals only scored 6 points against the defense that gave up that gave up 23 points to the Giants earlier this year. But you look at the interception, which I thought changed everything. Up the pick six by Kobe Bryant, what played a huge role in that game. But not nearly much to my home about. But Trey McBride was one of the best tight ends in fantasy last week, as I guess he continues to get an enormous volume. Because there were 34 targets, he had 15 of them. Um, so like he continues to eat up a lot of volume, and that bodes well for him. And Marvin Harrison Jr. only had 3 receptions to 47 yards in the loss for Arizona. Um, but but Seattle's a big best fantasy performer was Jackson Smith and Jug, but he had 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown in the victory.
Yeah, so Seattle takes care of business there. Meanwhile, those Philadelphia Eagles, or I call the Chickens, they went into SoFi Stadium and they took care of business against the Rams by a final score of 37-20. Matthew Stafford led the quarterbacks with 243 passing yards. And what about Saquon Barkley? Are you kidding me? 255 rushing yards. That is the big stat of the week. And leading receiver was Puka Nakua from the Rams with 117 receiving yards, but it's 255 yards. That boy was simply on fire.
Yeah, and if you also throw on the receiving component, he had 4 catches for 47 yards, in addition to the 255 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And Saquon is the seventh player in NFL history to have at least 300 yards from scrimmage, a gain from scrimmage, in NFL history. So that was truly an outstanding performance by everybody. In terms of other names that we didn't mention, AJ Brown had 6 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown, so he scored another 20 plus point performance for him. Cooper Kupp 8 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Kyle Williams finally scored a touchdown, the first time in 4 games he's done that. 16 carries for 72 yards and a touchdown on the night for him. But ultimately it was too little, too late for for that. Devontae Smith, I don't think he played, but he didn't have to play with the way Saquon Barkley played, and so with that.
Yeah, so The Saquon Barkley show, I guess you could call it, this past Sunday night. He gets my game ball for this week right here. And last night's game, Baltimore and Los Angeles Chargers. The Ravens take care of the Chargers by a score of 30-23. Justin Herbert with 218 passing yards, 140 yards rushing from Derrick Henry, and the good running back, or the receiver, Lad McConkey for the Chargers, 83 receiving yards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. But I mean, there were two big fantasy stories that came out of this for the Chargers. One, Lad McConkey continues to show why he is a number one receiver for a team. Another, he had the best performance of anybody: 6 catches, 83 yards. So, but Quentin Johnston, man, I mean, did you see some of the drops? Yeah, he had 5 targets last night. 0 catches, 3 drops, and it made such a difference in this ball game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I mean the Chargers and the previous brass taking Quentin Johnson over Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers just made no sense whatsoever. So that was what was tough. Derrick Henry's 0 touchdowns though, but Lamar Jackson tallied 3 more touchdowns, including two in the air and 1 on the ground. So he another 20+ point performance from him, a good bounce back after being held in check against Pittsburgh. But Mark Andrews, 5 catches and 44 yards and a touchdown. And Rashad Bateman, he had very little activity, but he made the most of it with the 40-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter. So that was that. Justice Hill had a touchdown and 62 all-purpose yards. So I think that was really all the scoring that from this week.
Yep, and that's how Week 12 went down last week in the NFL. Before we go to Week 12 in our fantasy league, we have a few. Looks like we got a few questions in here. As you know, we'll take all your fantasy questions. We'll see if we can answer them to the best of our ability. Scooby Taylor, he says, in a Dynasty Super Flex League, should I trade away Pickens in a mid 2025 second round for AJ Brown? So he's in a different type of league than
It's yes. But look, I think George Pickens. Because I think the thing for Pittsburgh is that the quarterback has been a little bit of a roller coaster the last few years. But I think if the Steelers decide to keep Russell Wilson, and with the way Pickens is playing, I think there's a real opportunity and there's a real value here for George Pickens. At some point, AJ Brown is going to be slowing down soon because AJ Brown is getting older. So I definitely would keep that because I think because I think that mid 2025 second could be something you want to use next year.
there you go. Oh, there's your answer, Scooby. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your question, Daniel Barry. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for watching. Just keep spreading the word for us. We have a question here. Actually, it's three. Actually, there are 3 parts here. Slapski, I guess that's how you count. You see, he's in a 12-man PPR with 2 flex starters. Looks like he's got Kyler Murray, Derrick Henry, Rico Dowdle, CeeDee Lamb, Nico Collins, Trey McBride, T. Higgins, Johnny Smith. Bench players, he's got Brian Robinson Jr., got Spears, got Madison, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. He's saying maybe he should start Dowdle or Brian Robinson. And he also says here, my second flex, choose one: Devontae Smith, Johnny Smith, or Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, Johnny Smith's got a much tougher matchup this week because it's a short week for Miami. They go to the cold. They play the Packers at Lambeau. So I don't know about Jonnu Smith or Jalen Waddle. As for Devontae Smith, if he is able to go, I think he's got a good matchup against Baltimore. And Baltimore's pass defense has been poor all season. So I think Devontae Smith is play there. Yeah, Rico Dowdle or Brian Robinson Jr. I think you got to go with Rico Dowdle because Dowdle's going up against the Giants and against a team that I think has mailed it in on the season, and it's not even Thanksgiving yet. So, and Brian Robinson Jr. going up against the Titans, and we mentioned the Titans and their run defense. It's not easy to run through. So I think you got to go for that. And in terms of where you are for the PPR, I think I think you got to look at Devontae Smith over Jonnu Smith this week.
Well, there you go. So, thank you very much for those questions. Hey, keep them coming, guys. We love to try to answer all your questions. Put them in the live chat or down in the comment section after the show. We'll see what we can do to answer those questions. Now we got to get to our fantasy results from last week here. Now we're going to start with the matchup between Casey and David. Yep. And it looks like Casey, wow. David. I guess y'all can see how the score was so lopsided. 126.22 for Casey. It's only 59.1 for David.
Yeah, it's mainly because he didn't make the adjustments that he needed, but
yeah.
So let's see. But Casey got Jahmyr Gibbs. He was the one that got saved by that 86-yard touchdown by Terry McLaurin. But it would not have made a difference in any way, shape, or form. So
Yeah, so that's basically how that went down. But David, if you're watching there, buddy, no offense, but
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
have to say a prayer for that guy. Anyway, moving on. What shall we look at now?
So we're gonna look at your how you were able to knock off Lucas and clinch a playoff spot.
Yeah, I got my playoff spot here with a score of 112.52 to 97.26. Bo Nix, I decided to start him, and it was a good thing, 19.42. Chuba Hubbard, or Chuba, whatever you want to call it, 15 points for me. The Packers defense, special teams is really good for me, 20 big points there. And Cameron Dicker, of course, known as Dicker the Kicker from Texas, got me 16 points right there. As far as my bench players are concerned, 15.68 from CJ Stroud, 13.6 from Mark Andrews. Other than that, nothing too bad over there. Over on Lucas's side, looks like his only real good players were David Montgomery and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ladd McConkey. As far as bench, Jordan Love, almost he almost broke even with Jordan Love on those points there, but that's basically how that worked out. So I move up to 8-4, second place in the Butthead division, while Lucas goes down to 5-7, fifth place in that particular
Yeah,
division.
yeah, look. There was logic in starting George Pickens over DJ Moore, but Minnesota's defense did not play well, and Caleb Williams was excellent. That the Caleb Williams that you saw last week with Thomas Brown, the new offensive coordinator, so they kept building up on that, and as a result, DJ Moore was sensational with all that. So there was logic there, but if he did start DJ Moore over George Pickens, Lucas would have won.
Yeah. So that's basically how that matchup went down. And happy to claim my playoff spot right there. Let's take a look
Yeah,
now.
I was.
Okay, we're going to go to Andrew versus Dino. Very close one here.
Yep.
Dino takes the victory here, 159.4 to 144.46. Looking down at the numbers here for these guys here for Andrew. Jalen Hurts got him only 15.06. Kareem Hunt went down a bit. Bucky Irving for Tampa Bay, 27.1. Cortland Sutton, 25.7. We mentioned him earlier in the NFL recap. TJ Hawkinson back in the lineup for Minnesota got him 18.4.
Yeah, TJ Hawkinson. We didn't talk about him that much, but he made some big catches and which were essential to setting Minnesota up for the winning field goal. So having Hawkinson back adds a layer that so that Minnesota didn't have when they had that 2-game losing streak. He could have been used against Detroit, could have been used against LA, but since he's been back there, I think Sam Darnold's had more of a security blanket. So that was a great pickup a couple years ago by Hawkinson in Division J with Detroit.
Oh, yeah. Looking at the bench players, Brandon McManus with 10 points even. I see the Titans left him 15 on the table, but he got 15 straight up from the Buccaneers, so he kind of evened out right there.
It's both defenses in our scoring were projected at 9.7 points, but they each scored the same number.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, for Dino, he almost broke even with Russell Wilson a little bit. Got big points from Josh Jacobs, 28.6, 20.9 from the aforementioned A.J. Brown, 18 points from Cooper Kupp. Remember, the best part of waking up is Cooper in your cup if you're in Los Angeles. 20.9 points from Aaron Jones. I think that was his flex option right there, and he did very good there. Looking down at the bench players, Tony Pollard with 21.9, Jordan Addison 28.2.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of flex depth that Dino has, because it was really shown these last couple of weeks, and Dino's team is not going to be an easy team to beat in the fantasy playoffs. I mean, because if you have this running back depth with Jacobs and Jones and Tony Pollard and now Chase Brown as well. If you have that amount of good running back depth, you're in a great position to win a round or two in the postseason.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yeah, and one of the things we discussed on last year's lessons learned from the fantasy season was that running back depth is important here, and that running back depth has played a big role in getting him back to the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. He's gonna be another one to watch here. I'll be watching Dino here pretty good. So the next matchup, where do you want to go? Oh, we're gonna go with
Oh,
Alex versus Natalie. Oh, checking this. Natalie got the win, 110.78 to 102.6. Look at these numbers here. 22.58, Lamar Jackson, always doing his thing right there. 13 points from the Steelers, defense, special teams, and Jason Sanders with 12 points from the kicker there. Nothing to really say on his bench except for Sam Darnold scored 21.1 fantasy points. Meanwhile, on the other side, Alex, I guess he forgot to take out Josh Allen since the Bills were on the bye. He got 19 points out of Nick Chubb, 26.4 from Jalen Waddle, 14-3 from Calvin Ridley, 21 points from the Texans defense special teams. He he forgot about Josh Allen, and it looks like he also forgot about Younghoe Koo since they were both on the bye last week.
yeah, but also to be fair, Alex was 2-9. He was already eliminated, so I think
Right.
he kind of mailed it in.
Yeah.
So which leads us to our last matchup.
Yep. Yep. This is yours right here. And you took the victory 165.3 to 140.86. 10-2. And looking at the numbers here, Jaden Daniels, 31.4 big fantasy points, but Saquon Barkley, 46.2. I gotta highlight that right there. 46.2 fantasy yards right there. 25.3 for Trey McBride. And Eric Kendricks did
21.6 points from
21.6 Keenan Allen, very good. And 12 points from the linebacker Eric Kendricks from the Dallas Cowboys. Not bad there. Nothing really to say about your bench players.
It's because I had Jamar Chase, Alvin Kamara, and Drake London all on bye this week. So I pretty much I had to put in my B team at wide receiver.
Yeah. Go. Meanwhile for Adam, got 28.76 from Patrick Mahomes, 14 from Derrick Henry. Look at that. Jacoby Byers, we had said he had a big day, 22.1 fantasy points from him. 16 points from the Dolphins defense special teams. Looking at Adam's bench, 25 points from the Cowboys defense special teams, which he left on the table there. Kind of a bummer there. Zach Ertz had 13.8 fantasy points, so that's basically how that went down, and I guess that's the so with just 2 weeks, which this week and next week, just 2 more weeks left in our regular season. And looking at the standings right now in the Beavis division, Casey has the lead. He got himself a playoff spot with a record of 75. Andrew and David is at 5 and 7. Trying to fight for those spots there. Unfortunately, Adam and Alex, of course, are out of playoff contention. They're both at 2 and 10. Meanwhile, on the Butthead side, Mr. Flynn, 10 and 2, best record overall. I'm behind him with 8 and 4. I'm actually tied with Dino, then Natalia's in with an 8 and 4 record. So I am tied with Dino And the tally with the record, Lucas at 5-7. So it looks like we got one, two,
Yes,
three, four, five
yes,
spots left and 3 spots left to go. So
yeah, yeah,
we
yes.
should we should be able to know who might be in the playoffs even after this week.
Yes, I mean, so there's 5 spots clinched, and there's 1 spot remaining, and it's gonna go to either Lucas, David, or Andrew. One of those 3 is gonna get the last spot.
Yeah, that's it. So I guess taking a look.
All right, so
Look ahead now.
yep. So still need a second here to get this up because I'm trying to do this with as little available bandwidth room as possible.
Oh yeah. So let's get the okay, where is it? Where is that thing? There it is. Okay. All right, now week 13. Looks like I will be going up against Natalie this week. And right now I have a 2-point edge right now over Natalie, 135-6 to 133-6. He's got Lamar Jackson. I got Joe Mixon and Brian Robinson. He's good with his wide receivers, Jefferson and Mooney. Brock Bowers tight end. I got Chuba Hubbard as my flex. Got Zach Braun from Philadelphia as my defensive player. Got Cameron Dickers as my kicker. And Steelers, he's got them. So let me see any bench players here that I might want to see here. Do I want to start? Let's see here. Well, I guess I sent another thing to because the trade deadline was trade line down is still tomorrow, and I guess Lucas still having. I was going to see if I could. I was going to trade Najee Harris for I can't remember. I was going to give him a running back, and I was probably going to get a wide receiver. Meanwhile, the tally, so he's got that here. So I'll make my adjustments on that one. Next we're going to go to going to look at Andrew versus Alex. Right now, Alex has the advantage here, 115.2 to 107.5. Okay, I got to refresh my page again because once again they're not putting up the right players because they're putting up my players instead of their players. Here we go. So it looks like Andrew's got the advantage for his running back, his RB2, wide receiver 1, Cortland Sutton, his tight end, Hawkinson, with Aziz Al-Shahir, Buccaneers, and Jake Elliott. Looks like this that Alex has right there in the matchups is Christian McCaffrey and Tank Dill and Calvin Ridley. So
yeah.
So adjustments if I have to be made, even though, of course, Andrew's playing for a playoff spot and Alex is just playing for pride here. So that's how it looks like. Now, looking at this next matchup I got here, it's Lucas against Adam. And right now, Lucas has a 132.5 to 125.8 advantage here. And looking at the numbers here, he's got Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown. As George Pickens as his receiver. I was okay. So Lucas, who was I going to get? I think I was going to get one of his players that he's got on the bench. Was it George Pickens? Hunter Henry? No, I was going to trade him. I was going to trade him Najee Harris for Lad McConkey.
Ooh, I don't know. This is actually kind of interesting here, because again, you said you need you need an upgraded running back. You have running backs to trade, and you need a receiver. So I think a trade like that makes a lot of sense for both sides.
Yeah, we'll see if Lucas responds to that here. So that's how their matchup is going right now. Uh, you or me going. You're going up against David. Right now you're having the advantage 145.1 to 115.5. Uh,
Yeah.
Whereas David's still in the running to get that last playoff spot here. You're pretty good with your quarterback. You're both running backs and your RB with your wide receiver one with Jamar Chase and Trey McBride, your tight end. Eric Kendricks from Dallas, your defensive player. So looks like a very interesting match right there. Hopefully, well, there's no players on buys this week. There's no bye week, so hopefully David will make the right adjustments there. And the final matchup this week is going to be Dino against Casey. And it's right now, Dino has the advantage 145.4 to 135.3. The only thing Casey has right now good is his running backs, Shamir Gibbs and Kyron Williams. Otherwise, all the check marks are on Dino's side of the board.
Yeah, it's about. I mean, if you look at Justin Herbert, if you look at DK Metcalf, and is that both of those have good matchups. I wouldn't be surprised if both of those guys outperform their expectations this week. Because I feel like if it's a Chargers Falcons game, if there's going to be a good amount of points put on the board, they're going to need some passing yards from Herbert in that, but Dino's depth is going to be shown here at all throughout, because he has Chase Brown and T Higgins back in the lineup after each of them had bye weeks last week. Same thing with Joe Burrow. So you're pretty much looking at his A team right there.
Yeah, looks pretty much like it right there. So that's basically what our schedule is for this coming week. And of course, like I said, with this week and next week, just 2 more weeks left in our playoff before the playoffs start in our league.
Yep.
And it looks like we got someone 7 assists. Let's see here. Okay, it looks like Dashy's got another trivia question for us, but we'll get to that one later.
Yeah.
And look who said hello. It's our man LC Lucas. How you doing, buddy? Of course, y'all know that Lucas will be joining myself and Alex for the Pain and Game Pick'em show, which is Wednesday nights, 10 Eastern, 9 Central on the APizzle 90 channel, APIZZLE 90. So, with that being said, so we gotta talk about Saquon Barkley. I mean, it's just weird how it all went down when he was in New York. They decided to pay Daniel Jones, tag Barkley, and now a couple of years after that happens, Daniel Jones is gone. But of course, and then Saquon Barkley he's picked up by the Eagles. He has this huge game this past week. So I guess I have to put Barkley as another great contender for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year. right now because he's already set a career high with 1,392 rushing yards, and he still has 6 games left to play, and putting that talent behind that offensive line. It really makes the Philadelphia Eagles go forward, zoom forward like a powerhouse. So that they're firing on all cylinders. The offensive line allows Saquon Barkley to get free and be such a dynamic difference maker. And then you factor in the pressure being taken off Jalen Hurts, and then of course the receiving combo that complements off of that. I think you need to make a case, Timmy, that the Eagles are the second best team in the NFL behind the Lions. I think they're better than Buffalo. They're better than Baltimore. They're better than Kansas City. And the way the Eagles defense complements that, it makes them such a scary team to face going forward.
Oh, definitely, definitely. But and don't forget, those Eagles have a very, very interesting matchup this week coming up against Baltimore, which we'll get to our picks just a little bit later. Let's talk about. So I mentioned Daniel Jones. He's no longer with the Giants. They let him go. So is there a team out there that could use a guy like Daniel Jones? Who's out there?
I mean, I think what Daniel Jones is going to be doing is he's going to be signing with a team that'll probably contend for the playoffs. So I think I think you might be looking at Baltimore. You might look at a team like Minnesota. If the 49ers are convinced that they're going to make a run to the playoffs, I don't know if they will, because I don't think they're going to beat Buffalo this weekend. Maybe would they be in the conversation if Brock Purdy is not able to go this weekend. But there are like a lot of teams, but I think Baltimore and Minnesota are definitely up there because we know both teams are going to make the playoffs. Because Minnesota's already at 9-2, and 10 wins pretty much guarantees playoffs at this point. So they're in.
Mm-hmm. Like we said, Bo Nix. I mean, all this season, I've said Jaden Daniels is the front runner, but I think Bo Nix can make a strong statement for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, another great performance from Bo Nix this week. And look, but the thing is, Bo Nix is already 24 years old, so he got a lot of playing experience in college, whether it was with Auburn, whether it was Oregon, where he played last year. But the amount of different things that he's seeing, and Sean Payton communicating a message of game plan to him is translating over in such a great at a great level, and why Denver is in a position to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah, so looks like those Chiefs better not rest on the laurels, because here comes Denver.
Yeah.
This young quarterback. I was skeptical, but now I think I'm starting to be a firm believer in this kid.
Yeah,
This kid's doing something here.
yeah, and if it wasn't for a blocked field goal a couple of weeks ago, Denver would be just a game and a half behind Kansas City in the AFC West.
Oh, you happen to mention blocked field goal. Wait a minute. I'm off on a tangent. I'm thinking of something totally different. I'm not thinking of a field goal. I am thinking about the Hail Mary that the Bears threw against the Commanders. And ever since then, the Commanders have not gained a victory. I mean, even after last week's wild game against the Cowboys, I guess the Commanders are starting to fall out and just let Philadelphia have it, I guess.
I mean, first of all, after that Hail Mary that Washington Jaden Daniels threw against Chicago, they did beat the Giants the following week, but
All right.
they lost at home to Pittsburgh, lost at Philly, and then lost at home to the Cowboys. I mean, that and in a game where the Commanders were 10.5 point favorites, that was a bad loss for Washington, because a lot made about the Cowboys because of the attention that's drawn upon them. But the flip side, it was a bad loss by Washington. So that the special teams was dreadful. I think teams figured out how to a plan of attack and defend against Cliff Kingsbury's offense, and the defense hasn't played so well either. So when you have those things together, so when you have predictable play calling, and when you have a coach that's not great in game strategy like Dan Quinn is, yeah, you're gonna get something like Washington being on this tailspin. Now, did I think they were gonna lose to Dallas? No, but can I be surprised given the ebb and flow of the last couple of weeks? No, but what the Commanders need to do is that they need to find an adjustment. They need to make a change in how in how to aggressively push Jaden Daniels to get Terry McLaurin involved in the game, because up until that touchdown, Terry McLaurin had like another under 10 fantasy point day, and then you have that. So, but now if you look at Washington, they're 7-5, and you have Seattle, Arizona at 6-6. You have the Rams and Rams at 5-6. As you also got you figured that Green Bay and Minnesota are going to be 2 of the 3 wild cards, so it's going to come down to maybe Washington against teams in the AFC, in the NFC West for that last wild card spot.
Yeah, it could be. In fact, I could see 3 teams from the NFC North going into the playoffs. The Lions, of course, I said Lions would win the division, and they're definitely on their way. Minnesota and Green Bay there. Chicago, no, not yet. Uh, we got it. I gotta see a little bit more from Caleb Williams right there, but yeah, three teams from one division make the playoffs. It's not unheard of, but it doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
So, what other topics were we talking about? Let me. I gotta get back to my little notes that I took here. About Justin Jefferson. We mentioned that he was kind of almost a non-factor in the Vikings win over the Bears.
It's yeah. I mean, because the Bears placed their best corner, and he did a great job covering Justin Jefferson. So similar to what the Bears did the week before, was put their best defender on Jaden Reed, and Reed only had like a couple of catches, one for a touchdown though, but so yeah, but if you're gonna beat the Bears, which is seemingly probable to do because of the head coaching and all that, yeah, you need someone else to step up and make plays, and that's what Christian Watson and Jordan Addison have done the last couple of weeks for against Chicago.
All right, so
So that another opportunity comes on a short week against the Lions. So you figure their best corner is going to be covered on Amon St. Brown. So watch out for Jameson Williams this week on Thursday.
yeah, gotta watch him. So right now I'm looking at the overall standings in the NFL, and I see 3 teams that are tied for the worst record in the league. Got Jacksonville, got Las Vegas, and of course you got the New York Giants. So what do you think that each of those teams could really use as far as the draft is concerned?
I mean, the Giants are definitely drafting a quarterback. I would have to imagine that because both Joe Shane and his assistant Brandon Brown were both at Colorado this weekend, scouting Shador Sanders with that. I think you're looking at that. I think Dallas needs more depth defensively. I think they also need an upgrade on the offensive line as well. Because if they're going to pay Dak that much money, they need as much protection on the line for him as possible. Also thinking about Washington, I think they need another wide receiver. I think that's probably the bigger need, as evidenced in the loss against Philadelphia last week.
Uh-huh. So, all right. Anything else you want to cover?
I mean, what were the other things that have been happening? Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs barely got past Carolina on
Oh
Sunday.
yeah.
Yeah, and Mahomes is capable of taking games over, which is why he has such high upside in fantasy. But when he only does it when he has to, because he wants to save his energy, and it's best for the playoffs, which he does each and every single year based upon his body of work in those games. But
yeah, so we talked about Mahomes, talked about Saquon, Daniel Jones, Justin Jefferson. Oh, I just thought of something. I think it was earlier today on the local station in Dallas, 103.5 The Fan. Jerry Jones says that he would not rule out extending Mike McCarthy. And as soon as he said that, I was like, Jerry, for the love of everything that is good and pure in this world, hell no! What do you say?
I mean, do you still see me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I think I think the dilemma that some of these teams that are looking to change coaches is like, sure, you're gonna fire somebody, right? Who are you gonna replace them with? 'Cause I think who you hire is more of a bigger question than are you gonna fire somebody? I mean, like, is Deion Sanders going to take the Cowboys job? Is Bill Belichick going to take the Cowboys job? Because I don't know if Dallas is still a pretty attractive, would be an attractive head coaching candidate because a coaching vacancy. But you're thinking about Chicago having Caleb Williams. You're thinking about Cincinnati having Joe Burrow. You're thinking about Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. You're thinking about the Giants. Your chance to draft a quarterback of your choice. So Dallas still has talent, which is pretty understandable. But what I think the Cowboys face is the years where Dak is on guaranteed money, and the Cowboys are being stuck with Dak Prescott. So in a way, they might be stuck with Mike McCarthy. I mean, I would never fire him because I think he's a terrific head coach, even though Cowboy fans might say things differently this year. But that's not a bad idea, really.
Yeah, so yeah, everyone. I guess everyone, from what I've been listening to on the radio, I've been hearing, even on my local station here in East Texas, 92.1 The Fan, uh, or 92.1 The Team. That's what we call it. Um, Everyone's saying either Bill Belichick or Deion Sanders, but um, but I digress. I mean, if the Cowboys can start strong, I mean, if the Cowboys can finish strong this season, uh, I guess I could give McCarthy a extension, but I don't know for how long though. I mean, it just depends on how well they do. Because I mean, of course, the past preseason, the previous offseason. Didn't really do anything as far as getting free agents. Didn't do anything trading up or down the draft. They didn't. They were just quiet all the way through the season, and that's how we got to. I guess how we got to this point here. So with I guess with that being said, I think it's time to like I said before when we had our little pre-show meeting, I was going to send tonight's trivia question to John Natali. But for all of you out there, well, I don't know if he's going to be watching this later. I don't know, but I can go ahead and send it to him after the show. So, as I mentioned, the Kansas City Chiefs this past week got their 10th win of the season, which means that the Chiefs now have 10 straight seasons with at least 10 victories. The Chiefs became the third team in NFL history to do that. So the obvious question is, who were the first two teams to accomplish that?
I mean, one of them is really easy. I know that one. So I'm just trying to think of what the second team is.
And Dashy had a question here. Let's see. There's 4 major rule changes in the NFL from the Steelers-Bengals rivalry. One of them is the Ken Anderson rule. Name the other 3 rule changes from the Steelers-Bengals rivalry. He gave us a hint. Came from when Marvin Lewis was head coach. Another hint. All of this came from the offseason after a Bengals player got injured during the Steelers-Bengals game in Cincinnati.
I could think of 2 of them from the top of my head, but I don't know what the last one was.
I couldn't tell you anything about those rules named after players or something like that. I could not tell you anything about that. So obviously Dashy has got me stumped on that one. I'm still going to try to mull it over, but I doubt I'll be able to come up with anything. But right now, I think it's time to go into our picks for hopefully what will be a lucky week 13 for us here. And before we go into our picks, last week, I went 10-3 straight up. I went 7-5-1 against the spread. Natalie and Flynn both went 8-5 straight up. Natalie went 6-6-1 against the spread. Meanwhile, Flynn went 5-7-1 against the spread. So after 12 weeks, Natalia and I are tied for the lead for the straight up picks, 121-58. Flynn is at 115-64. Picking against the spread so far this year, I am at 176-3. Natalia's at 93-82-3. And Flynn is at 86-90-3. So not bad there. Some got my throat here. So let us go into my favorite weekend of the NFL season, Thanksgiving weekend. Starting on Thanksgiving Day, Detroit Lions hosting the Chicago Bears at Ford Field. Detroit comes in at 10-point favorites. We are all picking the Lions to win this one. However, Natalie is picking the Lions to win, but he's picking the Bears to cover.
Yep.
Which I think is very kind of interesting there.
I get the logic because it's a division game, and all those division games can get wonky sometimes.
Yeah, those division games are. I mean, they're always good to watch, but they can be a little tricky. But I guess I could see that. So Natalia's got the Lions to win, Bears to cover. I'm not just taking the Lions this week. I'm going to go ahead and lock them up. So that's how I'm looking at it this week. And then we have the second game of Thanksgiving Day, which of course is the Cowboys game at AT&T Stadium against the New York Giants. Cowboys are picked by 3.5. We're all in agreement that Cowboys are going to win and cover that one, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was the I mean, among all the games, this one was the first one I circled in terms of the spread. I mean, I was very surprised the Cowboys are only 3.5 point favorites. In this one, when you compare and contrast the directions these two teams are going in, the Giants with all sorts of chaos, while the Cowboys actually put up 34 points against the Washington team. But I think this Giants team is dead. They're cooked. So with that, the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't think I would ever say this in 2024. The Cowboys are my lock of the week.
Nice. Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. And then for the dessert game, after the appetizer and the main course, we get the dessert game, which will be the Miami Dolphins and the Green Bay Packers on NBC and Peacock. Packers 3.5 point favorites. We're all taking the Packers to win and cover. Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, I think you need to look for Christian Watson to have a big day. I think you're also looking at Josh Jacobs to have a big day as well. So I think those two are going to lead the Packers to victory. There. I mean, as for the Miami side, I think you got to look at Jalen Waddle because I think if they're going to be focused on stopping Tyreek Hill, they're going to put Jair Alexander on Tyreek Hill, and I think it's going to free things up for Jalen Waddle to have a good day.
Yeah, so we're all taking the Giants. We're taking the Packers over the Dolphins. For the second year, we have a Black Friday game that will be on Prime Video. Legendary AFL rivalry here. Las Vegas Raiders against Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs come in at 12.5 point favorites. Now this is interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this before. All of us picking one team to win, but the other team to cover. I think I this I'm starting to think. I mean, with the way they gave up all those points to Carolina last week, I don't know if you are thinking what I was. This might be a trap game.
I mean, the Raiders always play the Chiefs hard because remember, the last loss the Chiefs had in their last season was that Christmas Day game, Raiders Chiefs with Arrowhead, and then the Chiefs failed to cover a 10-point spread against Vegas in Vegas earlier this season. So, but the Raiders always play Kansas City tough, and that's why I'm circling the Raiders here. I'm looking at a big game from Brock Bowers. I'm looking at a big game from Travis Kelce on the other side. I think he's gonna get back up and rolling. I think you're gonna, and also the expected return of Isaiah Pacheco on Black Friday. So that's gonna be a huge addition to their offense.
Oh yeah. So that's how I see there. Then we go to the Sunday matchups. We have the Los Angeles Chargers against the Atlanta Falcons. Chargers come in at 2 point favorites. Flynn and I are taking the Chargers. Natalie is actually taking the Falcons to win this one.
Yeah, I would look at a potential bust alert for Bijan Robinson because Robinson's going up against a stingy Chargers run defense. But I think Matt, I think players I like this week in fantasy. I love Vlad McConkey. I love the Justin Herbert. And I really like Kirk Cousins to put up a lot of yards this one. So I'm looking at Drake London to bounce back and Darnell Mooney to bounce back from their poorest performance against Denver a couple of weeks ago. And remember, the Falcons are coming off their bye week, so that's something to
Right.
consider. But I just think the Chargers are the better coached, more physical football team, and that's why I have them winning.
We all have the Steelers winning in Cincinnati against the Bengals, even though the Cincinnati Bengals are 3-point favorites. We're all taking the Well, it looks like we're all taking the Steelers to win, but taking the Bengals to cover.
Yeah, I mean, so I wouldn't be surprised if we had a good day from Chase Brown, because I think a game script is going to be that both teams going to probably have to throw the ball 35, 40 times this one. So I think Chase Brown is going to get some targets out of the backfield. So I'm looking for him to have a big day. I'm looking at T. Higgins to have a big day. I'm looking at on the other side, I think Pickens is a good start as well. So as well as Najee Harris or Jalen Warren, whichever one you want for that. But I would personally go with Najee Harris at this point, so you have that as well.
Mhm. We wow. Looking at the next game, we have the Houston Texans going into Jacksonville taking on the Jaguars. Uh, Houston comes in at 5-point favorites. Natalia and I are taking the Texans to win. Flynn, you're actually going with the Texans to win, but the Jags to cover.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville is coming off a bye week. And Jacksonville always plays Houston tough, so that's why I'm grabbing the points here with Jacksonville, and it's a divisional game too. And Houston has not played well, at all the last month or so. Maybe if the calendar flips to December, is that going to be the thing that gets Houston back on track? We'll see, but Houston doesn't necessarily pass the eye test for me right now.
Yeah. Well, actually, Natalia is not only taking the Texans this week, he's also locking them.
They are indeed.
The Texans are his lock of the week right there. Next we have the Minnesota Vikings. They're at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Vikings come in at 3.5-point favorites. Myself, along with Flynn, is taking the Minnesota Vikings to win, even though we almost have very similar scores. Very similar scores.
Yes, we do.
Natalia is taking the Vikings to win, but he's taking the Cardinals for the cover. Well, I could probably see the logic there.
I mean, we got Arizona coming off a loss, Minnesota coming off a win. So you think Arizona is going to play tougher? Minnesota is going to play a little lighter, but I just think that the Vikings have the better defense and the better coaching. So that's why I'm going to pick. That's why I took the Vikings to win this one. So
All right. Next, we have the Colts and the Patriots. This one is going to be at Gillette Stadium. Colts are 3-point favorites, and I know it's mine. And I think
for both of you, it's your garbage game of the week.
yeah, I really don't see much action in this one here. That's why I'm going with the Patriots to win this one, 20-16. Flynn, you got the Patriots 24-21.
Yeah, I think in this game, I think Kendrick Bourne. I think he's a good start for the Patriots. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is a good start for Indianapolis, as well as Josh Downs. I think there's gonna be some offense here, but I think a lot of missed opportunities as well. But I think I took the Patriots because I was more inspired by what Drake May has been doing as compared to Anthony Richardson. I know Anthony Richardson had a good game against the Jets, but then he followed up with a clunker against the Lions. So that's why I'm picking the Patriots to win the game.
So we got the Patriots, Natalia's got the Colts. But all three of us have the Seattle Seahawks taking care of the New York Jets. Seattle 2.5-point favorites. That's 2.5-point favorites against the Jets. That's I don't see the logic in that one.
The Jets meddled in. They've already fired their GM. They've already fired their coach, and the Jets defense has not played well for the better part of 6 weeks now. But in terms of matchups for this game, I like DK Metcalf a lot. I do like Kenneth Walker the third running over that defense. So I like them to start for Seattle. In terms of the Jets, I do like Garrett Wilson to start and Brees Hall obviously, but I think I like both Seattle to win.
All right, here. We got the Commanders at home against the Tennessee Titans. Commanders coming in at 5.5-point favorites. They're going to be fighting mad after what happened this past Sunday. Natalia and I both have the Commanders to win and cover, but I think Flynn is about to sound the alarm.
Yeah, I do like Tennessee in this one. I just think Tennessee's playing better. They're more inspired. I think they've been. I think they're going to be more confident going into this. And the thing about Washington, they just might not be that good. That might be the problem here with this. So yeah, I am going to sound the alarm on this.
Very, very interesting logic in that one. Very interesting indeed. Also very interesting, Tampa Bay going into Carolina to take on their division rivals. Tampa Bay coming in this one at 6-point favorites. I am taking the Bucks to win. And I'm taking the Bucks to win. I'm taking the Panthers to cover. Natalia's got the win. I think he said he says the Bucks win outright
And cover.
to win and cover. And but Flynn is lone wolf on this one with the Panthers.
Yes, I do. I think Carolina's played inspired. I think Bryce Young has been playing really solid football, and the way they played against the Chiefs, it's got to be quite inspiring for them going forward in terms of them having a good second half. And the thing is that this could carry over into next season, and maybe Carolina could be in the conversation to make the playoffs as early as next year. So yeah, this is another upset special.
Interesting indeed there. So that's how we see that one. We got the LA Rams going to New Orleans taking on the Saints with the Rams at 3-point favorites, and we are all unanimous on that one, taking the Rams to win and cover that one.
Yeah, I love the matchups for both Nakua and Cup this week against that Saints secondary. As for the Saints, I do think Alvin Kamara is going to have another big day in fantasy. So I think you want to make sure that he's in your lineup. You also want to make sure that Rashid Shaheed is in your lineup too, because I think they're going to try to throw a couple of deep balls his way. But I'm going to take the Rams. I think the Rams are going to win and cover this one.
All right. This next one is what I consider my game of the week. The Philadelphia Eagles against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Ravens coming at 3-point favorites. We all each have different results. I have the Ravens winning with the Eagles covering.
Yeah. Natalia also is also grabbing the points with Philly. The yellow shading on your score is not there, but all of us have the Eagles to cover. But I have Philly to win because I think Philly's the better team. They have the better defense, and I think they have the better coordinator advantage. The coordinator advantage over Baltimore in this game.
Uh-huh. So, but whatever it is, I see a high-scoring game. It's going to be airmailed. I mean, they're going to have to get an air traffic controller to take care of all those passes there. So it's going to be a sight to see right there. And that's a nationally televised game on CBS. So most likely it'll be Jim Nantz and Tony Romo calling that one.
Yep.
The Sunday night game on NBC and Peacock has the San Francisco 49ers at the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills are 7-point favorites. We are all taking the Bills. Flynn, you're taking the Bills straight up. However, Natalia and I are taking the Bills to win, but we're taking the 49ers with the points. Natalie did make a note here. He said he would change his pick to the Bills winning outright if Purdy does not play. That's still a concern with the 49ers, their star quarterback.
Yeah, but even Purdy or no Purdy, I love the Bills this week. They're probably going to be playing in a snowstorm on Sunday night in Buffalo. So love James Cook in this game. I think he's going to be a star in this one. I love Josh Allen obviously as well here, in the scope of things. So I think those two are going to be the two big stars of fantasy in Buffalo on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. And the last game for this Thanksgiving weekend 2024, the Monday night game, the Cleveland Browns at the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are at home, and they are 5.5-point favorites. And I guess there's no surprise here. We are all taking the Broncos to win and cover convincingly.
Yeah, another big game for Bo Nix. I love Cortland Sutton again this week. And also Jerry Jeudy going back to Denver, his first game in Denver since the Browns acquired him from the Broncos. So could he be getting some more opportunities this week? But it's going to be tough though against that Denver defense, which is the number 3 number 3 overall defense at the NFL in terms of points allowed per game. In terms of yards allowed per game, excuse me.
Right. So taking Denver on that one. So that's pretty much the Week 13 schedule for the NFL. Now, before we leave, we still have a little bit of unfinished business. Have y'all figured out the answer to my trivia question? I said Kansas City Chiefs became the 3rd team in NFL history to have 10 straight wins or 10 straight seasons of at least 10 wins. So my question was, could you name the other 2?
I mean, the easy one was the Patriots. So from 09 to 19.
Okay, that's one.
And then this is a tough one as well because I think the other one is John Madden's Raiders, but I'm not entirely sure about that one. It's either them or the Niners in the 80s, or I really don't have a definitive answer for the second one.
Well, I can tell you right now, you are definitely correct with the Patriots. And the other team to do that was actually the first team to do it. It was the 49ers.
There we go.
The 49ers under the late great Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
The great John Montana, Roger Craig, Jerry Rice, all those guys there. So,
Yep.
So it was the 49ers, then the Patriots, and then the Chiefs.
Yeah, and now it's now Dashy's trivia.
Yeah. So Dashy's trivia. Let's go back to this question. He said about the the rule changes from the Bengals, the Steelers, Bengals rivalry, the Anderson rule, three major name changes. They were in the off season, and they came about when Marvin Lewis was head coach.
Yeah. Yeah, let me see. So was it the game where Burfict had that illegal hit in that playoff game in 2015? Um, so who is the name of the linebacker that got hurt? Like he had that big time neck injury. It was a Steelers linebacker.
Okay, I think we got the answer from Dashy right here. The Carson Palmer rule, the Keith Rivers rule, I know Heinz Ward rule, and the Giovanni Bernard rule.
Mm.
Okay. Now that one guy you mentioned earlier, what was his name? Perfect.
Yeah.
I consider him one of the most dirtiest players in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
Probably right behind Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
So
yeah. The so-called Carson Palmer rule requires that defenders take every opportunity to avoid hitting the quarterback at or below the knees. Let's see the Keith Rivers. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. The Keith Rivers rule it was an illegal hit by the Heinz Ward took an illegal hit for illegal blindside hits, which the rule change now is a 15-yard penalty for illegal blindside block. And then the Giovanni Bernard rule. Let's take a look at that. That Ryan Shazier's playoff hit. That's right. I think Shazier was the name of the linebacker that got hurt in 2017, but it was a different player as well. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, another very interesting question there from our good friend, Dashy. Of course, our big Bengals fans. So thanks for that. And guys, thanks for all of your fantasy questions. I mean, they're very, very interesting. Austin says, would you trade Rashad White, Tyreek Hill, Jameson Williams for Derrick Henry?
Nope.
Nope. Well, okay, well, Austin, there's your answer, bro.
So he does says his other receivers are Nico Collins, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, Jacoby Myers, Jawan Jennings, and BTJ. But so yeah, but I would still keep what you have right now because I think Derrick Henry has been trending downward for the better part of a few weeks now.
See that. So that's what we say on that, Austin. Thank you very much for your question there, and thank you very much for all you guys. I mean, you've been really bringing these questions to us here this season, and we definitely appreciate the support. We definitely appreciate your questions. So with that, I think we'll bring this edition of Fantasy Football Fever to a close. As I said, it's my favorite time of the year, Thanksgiving weekend. Get together with your family, have food, have fun, and of course, watching all the football games. So don't forget, where is it? Where is that little piece that I throw in there? Oh, there it is. Be sure to listen to Hooked on Sports with John Flynn. Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, anywhere you find all all your favorite podcasts, you just might find this one right here. This is the guy you want to talk to.
Yes, indeed.
And don't forget tomorrow night, the Pain and Game Pick'em show with Alex, Lucas, and yours truly. Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. There's the link, youtube.com/apistol90. So I guess we will go ahead and say good night. I want to wish all of you a very happy, healthy Thanksgiving. Be careful out there on the roads if you're traveling. If you're drinking, don't drive. And if you're driving, do not drink, because we want to have you all back here 7 days from
Yes, and
now
happy.
when we go into December and we get into the nitty gritty of the season here. Absolutely. So that being said, John Natali, wherever you are, happy Thanksgiving to you, brother. Hope to see you next week. Mr. Flynn, happy Thanksgiving to you, sir.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving to you too.
That's right. And from all of us to all of you, we want to wish all of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe out there. On behalf of John Natali, that's John Flynn. My name's Tim McClelland. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the holidays. Be back with us next week. God bless you all. And as always, be a good sport. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
And happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you as well. And all right, and take us out, Timmy.
Good night. See ya.
And hang on, give me a second.
Oh, was I supposed to end it?
Yeah, end it.
Okay.
Wait, I got it.